Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Welcome. Today, folks, we're going to get back into the whole Trump stuff, what's going on there. We've got some videos to play of some Senate hearings. Jim and I, we sure love Senate hearings. Anyways, we got some stuff going on there that we're going to show you. In addition, Biden election meddling. He's upset about it. Biden is upset about election meddling. Jim's going to tell us about that. Yeah. RFK Jr., his past is coming back to haunt him. Did Obama offer hush money back in 2008? Interesting. And then we hear from some never Trumpers about the verdict. We've got that plus so much more as always, Jim, on another great episode of what?
Two sparkling guys.
Prime.
One fabulous coup.
Stop it.
Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Coming right at you. Sorry, folks, we've been doing this for another few episodes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. It's Pride Month 2024, and we're here to celebrate it. Jim?
Maybe a little differently than some people, but we're celebrating.
Well, that's right. We're giving it attention. I mean, is it that deserve some sort of...
Juneteenth.
Wait till June. At least Father's Day's not on Juneteenth this year.
No, I'm just saying that we get to honor the proper Black folks.
Yep, that's true. Yep.
The ones that actually want to help the Black people. But anyway,
well, speaking of that, so I got an interesting video I'm going to play here. It's audio, but you'll see a picture. But would you consider a gentleman like Malcolm X far right?
Absolutely. No.
I'd say Malcolm X was not your far right individual, right?
Not at all.
Something very interesting he said, and I came across the 1 minute speech, and I want you to listen to it. I think it applies, Jim, to today still. Things you and I have been saying, actually. We are more Malcolm X-y than we think. So take a listen to this.
To see that one. I think I'm more Martin Luther King, but that's all right.
Well, I know, but listen to this. Just listen.
The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor.
Yep.
And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader.
So play that for some of those who are just absolutely.
Man, it sounds like something you and I have been saying for how long have we been doing this show?
They've been hanging on the white liberal plantation since LBJ, right?
Now, white conservatives, we try not to use them, even though some people may say I do, by wanting to put Tim Scott as vice president, but that has nothing to do with his race.
No,
I think he would be a fantastic vice president. He just happens to be Black. And but we don't, we sit there and say, and the conservatives always do, you're welcome in the conservative party if you're willing to work, take care of yourself, take care of your family, be accountable, be responsible. We're welcome.
Willing to give a hand up but
we
not
will help you up. Exactly. We will help you up. But after a certain period of time, you need to be able to get on your feet. Now, that is white, black, pink, purple, blue,
doesn't
brown,
matter.
whatever you want to say.
Yeah, there is no crap.
But the left likes to say, hey, we're racist, we're evil.
Yep, exactly. So, Jim, what are you doing back there? People are noticing.
I'm closing.
Boy, you're all foobarred back there. Your set's a little wacky today. Yeah. So I just thought that was very interesting.
Just
right?
Never happy with me.
You weren't happy with yourself, stupid. You're the one who moved
That's
it
a
all.
Good point. That's a good point.
Thank you. That was nice of you. And again, I called you stupid. I do that, Jim. As
good for the show.
Well, yeah,
Folks,
I never do it.
You should hear how he treats me outside of the show.
I never say those things to you in person. Again, it's a hand up, Jim. That's what I'm offering you.
Exactly. No, that's what. Yes, and that's what I need. Sometimes I need a hand up.
Yeah. Oftentimes, I'm just getting the finger up. Not even so that doesn't seem to be. Oh, speaking of that, and I'll get into more things. Hey, we got another Facebook whiner.
Uh-oh.
Not everyone wants to be tagged.
Well, I'm sorry, but Dale spends a lot of time putting these out there on Facebook, and I don't think he's going to sit there and go through each one of the people in these different
and say,
"Is it okay if I tag you?"
Just move on.
Yeah.
Just
do
you know what happens when a notification like that pops up on my phone? I look at it and I go, okay. And then I move on.
Yeah.
Not some people. They've got to comment and say, not everyone. I guess my only option is to leave this group.
Yep. Bye.
That's pretty much your only option now. Because I said, you don't have to leave. I'll remove you.
So what the heck is the harm? So you're tagged. So what?
So what? What is the...
Oh, maybe
I had the one person at one time say, other people look at my phone where I work. I could be. That's your problem. Don't join the group.
Don't be in these.
Don't be in these groups. Yeah. So, anyways, Weinbag's gone. I don't care. That's that. Anyways, Malcolm X. You and I we're very X-y at times.
But it's.
But I want people to play that for those who are saying how racist the Republican Party is, and the Trump MAGA people, and it's not 1960 was not that long ago, people. The 60s were not that long ago, where you can't. There's tapes, there's these recordings. We saw the voting. We saw what Lyndon Johnson said back then. We know how they treated. And last show, you showed that the Democrats jailed Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. The Democrats. So, listen.
It was the Democrats that kept them from having their civil rights. It was the Democrats that didn't want to give them their freedom. It wasn't the Republicans that did that. But over time, like he said, the Negro leaders, civil rights leaders, sided with the white liberals.
Yep.
Because they fell for the bullshit.
The Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons.
They fell for the bullshit because
they fell for the bullshit, and they fell for the money.
The money.
It was the money.
Why did they leave? Why did Jesse Jackson leave Martin Luther King? It's because Martin Luther King didn't want to make money on it.
Yep. That's right.
Martin Luther King could have.
Yeah.
But that's not what it was for.
She could have. Yeah, he could have, and maybe should have. But yeah, so I wanted to play that. That was interesting. But
I do have, in honor of Pride, I have a couple stories.
Good. I'd like.
Yes.
Kind of Pride 2024. It's here, folks. Aren't we happy about it?
Congratulations, Sadie Schreiner.
Sadie Schreiner
won the women's events at the Liberty League Championship Division III on Saturday. Congratulations.
Good for Sadie.
He's a biological male.
No.
but in honor of Pride Month, we have to say, okay, woman, you've just been stripped again of a title.
Yes, that's right.
Way to go, Title IX. God, that's
way to
awesome.
go. Yeah, that's right.
It won the 400 meters with a time of 55 seconds. 55.07 seconds, and the 200 meters at 24 seconds.
Is that fast?
Both times would have been last at the men's meet. Both
times would have been last if you and I were in the race.
Well, change that seconds to minutes. that would maybe. I think I can do the 200.
I don't even know how far 200 meters is. We're in America, people. What is that? Like 100 yards? I don't know. Somebody tell me. What's 200 meters? Listen, I'm not Canadian. Hey. Oh, I am.
Schreiner was born in Mill, Camden, and attended Hillsborough High School in New Jersey. Has the 20th best 110 meter for the boys in school history. It would be the fastest for the girls. So when he was in high school, he was fine. But and I think just like a lot of others, I don't do very well against other men. I could kick the women's ass, so I'm going to become a woman. And anyway, so congratulations to women. You were
once again.
And one quick thing, I have to tell you, there is a trans athlete that complains of unsportsman comments after winning the girls' title. So this man is upset because girls are upset that he beat them. Who could have seen that coming? Right?
Yeah.
Now this one's Veronica Garcia. Won the girls' title at 55.75 seconds.
He chose
which
Veronica
was a full 1 second faster. So I don't have the video. I tried to find it. Maybe you can. There's a video here, but it's not formatted to where it's
transferable to us at the moment.
You should see the distance. And it's almost like they have to slow down so it's not too obvious. So they don't, they don't, and it's just ridiculous heck. But thanks to Riley Gaines, who I'm beginning to love her more and more.
Oh God, she's amazing.
In Washington and Oregon this past week, the fastest girl in each state has been a boy. Congratulations to Washington, Oregon, in honor of Pride Month, where women are being removed from history by men. Now, these liberal women hate it when men tell them, and I love this, how they always say, men tell them what to do with their bodies, right? Abortion. Don't tell me what to do with. Well, there's women telling you what to do too. It's not just men. But they're okay when men kick their ass in their sports.
In Washington and Oregon,
and it's perfectly fine. Okay.
Well, half of Oregon is.
Well, this is why I like it. We know 13 counties.
We know the other half isn't.
But well,
Western Idaho is what I call them now. And so what? Let's go on to this. What does it look like? I love this. What does it look like when the woke snake starts eating its own tail? This weekend in Philadelphia may have offered up a glimpse. Pro-Palestine protesters clashed with a pride parade in the city's neighborhood. That's in quotes.
Pro-Palestine protesters. With
pride parade. So pro, save Palestine. Yes, wherever again that Palestine is, I don't know. Area on Sunday. And to think it's only 3 days into Pride Month at the time. In a video shared online, which I could not grab either, or I would show you, Pride participants in leather and lace, just like that teddy bear in front of the hotel.
Leather, take from me my
what is that?
Song.
What is that, Jim?
I believe it was Lindsey Buckingham. No. Yeah, leather and lace, right? Lindsey Buckingham.
I don't know. I listen to music, Jim.
Fleetwood Mac, what's her name? She was one of your top female artists, and I think is terrible. Stevie Nicks. Yeah.
You think Stevie Nicks was one of my top female artists?
I thought you said. Maybe it was Larry. Larry's an idiot.
It was Larry. It wasn't me. In a video shared online, Pride participants in leather and lace were stopped by pro-Palestinian Alphabet People members, some wearing keffiyehs. What are those?
No idea.
Who disrupted the parade to confront fellow community members, as detailed by sources. The protest, led by Queers for Palestine, highlighted the perceived parallels between Palestinian oppression and historical prejudice against the Alphabet People. During the disrupted Philadelphia parade, they chanted, "The more you try to silence us, the louder we will be," along with "From the river to the sea." During sources added that one protest leader, dressed in a crop top, cargo pants, and whatever keffiyeh he is, declared that Pride has become a tool of public relations, inseparable from the political and economic context. Critics often question the support that the Alphabet folks protesters show for the culture that largely oppresses their lifestyle, noting that in places like Gaza, those folks' activities and relationships remain criminalized. This has sparked debates about the rationale behind this movement and the support for Palestine. They clashed because you can't do that over there. Queers for Palestine is the most oxymoron. It's like chickens for KFC. I don't understand, like I don't get it.
They don't, it's like they don't get it. And they don't listen. They're stupid. It's no longer ignorance. You and I sit there and we gave them credit by just saying they're ignorant, uninformed. But this is stupid. They're and I would love it, like the spider leading the fly to his web. And it's like Iran. Hey, Gays for Palestine, come over and do your parade in our streets. We will we will welcome you.
We welcome you, as they're throwing rocks, stoning them, and hanging them.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's phenomenal. Again. Morons will eventually turn around and eat themselves alive, and that's what they keep doing here. Jim, I got a couple videos I want to play. Do you care? Are we done with Pride for today? Are we done?
We're done with Pride.
Are we prided out? One I want to get into now. Senate hearings. You know how much we love them because
they're awesome.
It's a lot of chest beating and pounding, and a lot of
and nothing is done.
Nothing is done. The answers from who they're questioning are never straight and to the point. They never answer them. They always hem and haw. But it does offer some good entertainment. Waste of taxpayer money unless something's going to be done, Republicans. So do something. And I understand there's processes, and I understand the limits they have because they have zero control over the Department of Justice. But there's a very interesting exchange between Representative Matt Gaetz and Merrick Garland yesterday during those Senate hearings, and I want to play that for you. It's a couple minutes long, but I think it's worth listening to. Here's Gaetz. He grills Merrick Garland. Now, this is all on the weaponization of the Department of Justice and what we've seen, the lawfare that's going on, and all that other stuff. Jim, you ready?
Dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
Objection.
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
If you make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. Yeah. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
I'm going to say again, It's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General.
Exactly.
I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with anything you just said, but I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay, so you won't comment on it, Mr. Attorney General, but you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew
That's
Colangelo,
false.
Matthew
False.
Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ, and then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by the DOJ.
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know what?
I tell you, I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, we put together the legal eagles to get Trump.
Yep.
We got all these folks together and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired, here, Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it, or the judge's family is making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. You know, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law. And I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public.
Yep. That's it. It starts. It'll end here in a minute. I got to let it run out. Yep. So sorry, I'll cut that part out, but I had to let it run out. That's the interesting part to me was that whole, you're asking me about a case. No, simply what I would have said there was, and Matt Gaetz does a great job at this. He's very good at questioning, people like this. I hope some shit comes down from it. I don't think it ever will, but
when Josh Hawley, Kennedy, Hawley, Gates, probably, and Stefanik now. I mean, she's fabulous.
Oh, gosh.
I really like her, especially when she came out against the 80% of the jury pool voted for.
I got Representative Hagman out of Wyoming. I got another one I'm going to show you, but go on.
And but anyway, I probably should have got that one with Stefanik, but it was very, very long.
So was that one, but it's worth hearing.
It's amazing to me how it's out there. All of this stuff is out there. All of it's and the shock of people that, oh my God, I didn't know that. Yeah, come on, really?
Yeah, come on, y'all knew that.
Merrick Garland is a joke.
Oh, he's a joke.
He never does anything to help his cause.
Nothing.
By saying that I don't want to comment on a case. The case, first of all, is done. It's over.
First of all,
it's got to go through.
We weren't commenting on a case. It wasn't.
But he's the one, and I loved how Gates set him up. He walked.
Says
right
you're the
into
one
that
connecting
he
the
was
dots.
Yep,
you're the one. But after he wouldn't answer, I said, "Well, I've got to assume then, yes, you have made money off of that. I have to assume because of your answer that the answer is yes, you've made money. So let's go on the record and say, well, then he says, no. Well, then tell me. That's the kind of gotcha shit that, and I don't again." With Senate hearings, I don't think any of it's going to matter. It gets it in the record. It may matter in a few years. It may matter down the pipe. But truthfully, these guys are this way because nothing ever happens. These people, he is clearly lying under oath in front of Congress. and Trump is indicted on 34 counts, all misdemeanors. That kind of crap. You know, we're going to play something here in a minute
President
that Jim's
Trump
got.
is being held under.
Yeah.
He's held under different standards.
Correct. But I want to play, because I've got Representative Hagman. She's out of the great state of Wyoming. She also was questioning Merrick Garland yesterday during the Senate Judiciary hearing. Her line of questioning too. And just listen. Again, this is a few minutes. If you need me to pause it, Jim, ever in any of these, just tell me so I know. But if we can, if not, then we'll just play it out. But here she is questioning Garland as well.
Mr. Attorney General, are you above reproach?
Yes.
I'm not above criticism. I'm not sure what you mean by reproach, but of course you're totally free to criticize me, and I expect
as American citizens, we can criticize you. We can criticize all of our government employees, can't we?
Absolutely.
Because you seem to whine quite a bit today about being attacked or people challenging the decisions that you've made. I actually think that Daniel Greenfield, a contributor to Front Page magazine, may have said it best when he said that a justice system can survive those who challenge the prosecutors, but it can't survive those who prosecute the challengers, which is kind of the situation we're in with the Biden administration and you at the helm of the Attorney General's office. Attorney General Garland, in March, Chairman Jordan and I sent you an oversight letter requesting documents and information following the release of an undercover video indicating that the DOJ was working with the IRS to use artificial intelligence to surveil bank accounts of Americans in a clearly unconstitutional manner. The undercover video featured an IRS official privately admitting that the IRS had been using AI to spy on Americans' bank accounts en masse in real time. The IRS official further stated that the Department of Justice and Inspector General controlled this AI-powered warrantless surveillance system, not the IRS. Attorney General, would you agree with me that if the federal government were operating this form of financial surveillance program, there would be serious Fourth Amendment as well as other statutory and civil rights implications, considering that there is no individual probable cause and no search warrants are being obtained?
I would be stunned if the Justice Department has the kind of AI capabilities that you're talking about.
Would you agree with me that
would you agree with me? Learn about this.
Would you agree with me that if they were engaging in that kind of surveillance, it would have serious Fourth Amendment implications?
I can't understand the kind of surveillance that you're talking about. Fourth Amendment prevents unreasonable
It's a simple
searches and
question.
seizures without a warrant. If that's what we're doing, then of course that would violate the Fourth Amendment.
Okay, so I would request that you go back and read the letter that Jim Jordan and I sent to you. That might clear up your confusion just a bit.
I'll be happy to do
Now, while the committee has been following up with the department about this matter for months now, the department only replied with a formal response to the committee late last week. In the department's response letter, a DOJ spokesman, the Assistant Attorney General, Carlos Iriarte, stated that the department is, quote, not aware of the department using any AI program that reflects the description in our March 20th letter, end quote. But saying that the chief AI officer is, quote, not aware of the department coordinating with the IRS to use AI to unconstitutionally spy on Americans' financial records is very different from saying unequivocally that the department is not doing so. Why won't the department just give us a clear answer as to whether it is actually using AI to spy on American citizens' financial records?
I'll be happy to take your letter back, and apparently you already have received a letter. I'll take it back, and we'll see whether we can get you a clearer letter for you.
I would appreciate that. I want to turn to another serious issue, the infiltration of our tribal communities by the Mexican cartels because of Joe Biden and Myorkus's open border. As chair of the subcommittee on Indian and Insular Affairs, I have heard from tribes across the nation about this issue. In your written testimony, you actually mentioned how the department is working with tribal partners to disrupt cartel supply chains and that the department is zeroing in on the Sinaloa and Jalisco cartels. However, in April, the president of the Fort Belknap Indian community testified to the department's failures, stating, quote, we don't have help from the FBI, the Border Patrol, the DEA, that has jurisdiction on federal lands, which are reservations. Attorney General Garland, his testimony comes from a tribe where the Sinaloa cartel operates with near impunity in its region. Drugs have devastated the community, reservations have become part of the cartel supply chain, and the Mexican cartels are intimidating Americans testifying before Congress. Yet the FBI and DOJ are largely absent. The tribe's experience runs in direct contrast to your testimony. Have you been in contact with any of our tribes about the impact that mass illegal immigration, human trafficking, and drug smuggling are having on their members?
Not only have I been in contact with the tribes, I've been on the reservation in Montana and Alaska. The answer to your question is Congress is not giving us money for FBI agents to go into the reservations.
So this is Congress's fault that you won't do your job.
It's Congress's
This
fault.
is Congress's fault that you won't protect
I will do
our
my-
reservation, that you won't protect our reservations from the consequences of the Biden and Mayorkas open border policies. That's Congress's fault, not theirs.
If you give us money for more FBI agents,
You need more
for the
money for FBI
reservations,
agents.
they will
How about
go
if
to
they
the
just
reservations.
enforce the border? How about if you ask them to enforce the border?
The time of the gentlelady has expired. The gentlelady yields back. Does Mr. Ivey have?
We're out.
Congress's fault. Give us more money.
Well, that's what Biden's been saying, and now you heard his speech yesterday, right? Now
Okay.
he's passing this new bill.
We're going to talk about that. No. I don't have. I have Senator Kennedy's explanation of it, and that's what I wanted to play. But no. Go ahead and keep talking.
No. Well,
it's just his explanation.
He just said that I'm going to have to do this myself, which so he's going to do a presidential executive order. That's going to help present because the Republicans aren't working with him. But never once did he mentioned. He removed all the executive orders President Trump had that protected the border.
So here we go.
Anyway.
So listen, I'm going to play Senator Kennedy first. I want to play Myorkus, who was on Neil Cavuto's show about this.
He's fabulous.
Now this is a very short video, but then I have something I wanted to say. So listen to this one.
The president said a number of times, sir, that the border already was secure. So obviously it's not.
Oh, Neil, we've been talking about strengthening the security of the border since day one. The challenge of irregular migration is very, very dynamic.
But nevertheless,
Since day one, on January 20th, now I'm going to go on, Jim.
Okay.
On January 20th, 2021, just hours after being sworn in, President Joe Biden took several immigration-related actions that together signal a new era for immigration policy. They comprise an important first step towards redressing some of the ways in which immigrant communities have been profoundly harmed, in particular over the past 4 years, the Trump era, and towards the United States becoming more welcoming of immigrants and refugees. These day one actions are the first of what we'll fight to ensure are many immigrant inclusive policies under the Biden administration. That's day one. That's Myorkus said since day one, they've been trying to fix it. Since day one, he opened the border. So this what I just read came from the National Immigration Law Center. Far left, they're spinning it as thank God he's doing this, when in sense, their exact words are the borders are wide open for anybody to come in. That's exactly what he did. And that's exactly what they're saying, just in nice words.
Most of the American people aren't going to buy it.
No, they don't buy it. They don't buy Myorkus's bullshit. They don't buy Biden's bullshit. And the fact that he said, didn't he say 6 months ago or something? He can't do anything about the border. It's got to be Congress. It's got to be Congress. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm going to fix the border 5 months before the election. I mean, anybody,
wait till you
is
see
anybody
what happens
stupid
in the
enough to
next
fall
5
for this
months.
shit?
Yeah, we're promising more money for student loans for children. And
This is what's happening. This is exactly what's happening. Well, Senator Kennedy, in his usual wonderful way that he
takes a while to get it out, but he
had something to say about that whole Joe Biden amnesty program, because that's all it is. You can come over and you'll just receive amnesty.
That's what it is.
And they probably have counted, well, we've got 40, 50, probably 60 million illegals in the country now. So that should be enough to overtake Trump in the polls.
Million to vote. Perfect.
I mean, in vote. Yeah, that should be enough. So now I'm going to do something about it and show them I'm dead serious. The Republicans didn't want to do anything about it. The spin is unfrickin' believable. Here's Senator Kennedy.
Okay, I want you to listen up. Here's the drill. President Biden is in trouble politically. He's polling right up there with fungal infections. Part of the reason for that is that he gave in to the loon wing of his party, and he dissolved the southern border.
Yep.
Now, 5 months before an election, he has to appear to be willing to do something about it, hence this executive order. And he expects you to report this epiphany that he has had, take what the White House is telling you, balance it on your noses like trained seals, and report it uncritically.
Yep.
For 3 years, we have watched President Biden push on a door that has been clearly marked full. He's mismanaged Congress, COVID, the national debt, the economy, inflation, crime, Afghanistan, Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, and now, of course, the border. And every time, I think the president has hit rock bottom. He has managed to find a shovel and continue to dig. Hence, this executive order. And I think that's what the American people see. The first question I would ask President Biden is this. It's a little late, isn't it, Mr. President?
Yep. It's a little late. And it still doesn't do shit for the border. It doesn't do anything for it. It's just now you can come over and you receive amnesty. Just come through the door and you all get amnesty. You don't have to sneak over anymore. We're just letting you in. I mean, they weren't.
Well, isn't it anyways. Like not after midnight, though?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think it's like,
States is closed at 12 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, business. Yeah, we close at 12. We're open 24 hours, not in a row. But anyways, and so then that leads me to this, Jim. People keep screaming and screaming and screaming about, and I've had people say this to me on TikTok too and all that. How can you support a felon? How can you support a felon for president? How can you support a felon for president? Well, this is 14-second video. Does this remind anybody of anything? And let me see. Can I find it even? Yeah. So do you guys remember this scene? Those listening, congressional Democrats take a knee for 46 seconds of silence, all dressed in their African garb. Of course, Nadler couldn't take a knee because where are
he's already on his knees.
He's already on it. Here's who they supported. George Floyd moved to Minneapolis in 2014 after being released from prison in Houston, Texas, following arrest for aggravated robbery. On May 25th, 2020, Floyd was arrested for passing a counterfeit $20 bill at a grocery store in Minneapolis. He was under the influence of fentanyl and methamphetamine at the time of arrest. Floyd has more than a decade-old criminal history at the time of the arrest and went to jail for at least 5 times. George Floyd was the ringleader of a violent home invasion. He pled guilty to entering a woman's home, pointing a gun at her stomach, and searching the home for drugs and money, according to the court records. Floyd was sentenced to 10 months in state jail for possession of cocaine in a December 2005 arrest. He had previously been sentenced to 8 months for the same offense, stemming from an October 2002 arrest. Floyd was arrested in 2002 for criminal trespassing and served 30 days in jail. He had another stint for a theft in August 1998. St. George of fentanyl, that is who that's who they worship. We talked about it. You said it last show. We still are talking about George Floyd. but not on one of them will say Laken Riley's name. You're right. And they wonder why we support somebody they made up misdemeanor charges on and created felonies for things that have already gone past the what's the dates that you can't try somebody? What's that called again? The
statutes of limitations.
Statute of limitations. Thank you. For misdemeanor bookkeeping charges. But
see, you can call him a felon because that's what they want, right? That's
all they need.
Anybody with common sense knows this is going to get overturned. Now, it's just not going to get overturned until next year.
Correct.
Okay. So you call him felon all you want to. I don't see him as a felon. He may have committed a felony. He may have committed a felony in his life. Not any of these charges that they're bringing up against him.
No.
But
what charges?
How many? Not just felony charges. How many treason charges could you do to the administration right now?
I know.
Treason.
You can hang for that.
If you are a legitimate DOJ that wants to prove that you're protecting the American people, you bring Myorkus, you bring Merrick Garland, you bring all of these people on trial for treason.
That's a good
all
point,
of them.
Jim. That's a good point, because my question to you is this: how deep does this go that not one whistleblower is coming out? Not one. Here's the proof in the video. I've recorded something. How deep does it go that we're literally, they can't all, the Border Patrol agents, ICE, everybody in the Department of Justice, people in the FBI, the CIA, where are these people at that aren't speaking up for what's going on? I mean, I understand
you've seen
the ramifications of it. Well, I know that. Well,
for the FBI,
it's true, and I got a story on a whistleblower here real quick. But yeah, it's true. You see what happens to them. I mean, their lives are completely destroyed.
Yep.
But really, I mean, I feel no matter what I have and the luxuries I have and how lucky I am and blessed and you name it, that if I was physically able to prove for video, via video or audio or whatever the story is, I think I'd be willing to do that. Seems like the least I could do, regardless of what's going to happen to me, right? Because at this point in my life, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what people think. I don't care what they say. I don't care that they, they come after me. My family, absolutely.
Yeah. But do you think they need whistleblowers? Because all this stuff is coming out.
Well, I agree with that, but
they don't.
Yeah,
care.
I know, but they don't. You're right. You're right. Yeah, but still, it just makes it so many people are employed by those agencies. That where are the true patriots to stand up for this?
Well, yeah,
I mean,
just listen
not just
to Merrick
one, but there's got to be thousands of them.
Listen to Merrick Garland's response to Gates.
Yeah.
Okay. He never, ever said anything that would have made it look like he was lying to Congress. Okay. He kept making these exchanges and everything.
I know
but what he never said is, there's emails out there.
Yeah.
You guys were in direct contact.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't take a position way up in the Department of Justice and then take one in Alvin Bragg's.
Yep, correct.
District Attorney's
It just doesn't happen.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And so if we're just a bunch of sore losers,
that's the problem.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Investigate it. Legitimately. Investigate it. Do your job.
If they all start doing their jobs, they can't stop them all. But that's not happening. That's not happening.
DOJ has told them this is what you will do.
Exactly.
And I hope they're happy. I hope MSNBC, I hope CNN, I hope they're all happy. Their numbers are going down.
It doesn't matter to them. Their numbers are going down, but their paychecks are going up.
Yeah, we already.
It doesn't matter.
That.
So, Jim, there's interesting. I'm going to play this video that you've got now, since we're talking about the Trump and the crimes and all that and what he committed. Do you know what crimes they are? Because I don't remember.
And neither does this person.
Neither does this person. Yeah, here it is. So listen to this. Piers Morgan set it up real quick, Jim. I think it's Piers Morgan's show, right? Who is not a Trump lover. And he had a panel of people.
Even though he was on Celebrity Apprentice one year, and that's when I first heard of Piers Morgan. I can't stand the cocky son of a bitch. But anyway.
Anyways, he is cocky. Anyways, here, listen to this exchange.
Francesca, just on that point, what crime did Trump commit?
It was financial crimes. It was white collar crimes. That is exactly what they charged him. He was convicted on.
What was the crime?
It's New York State law.
I understand. What was the crime?
It is New.
Francesca,
I don't even like it. It is
hang on,
literally, he just got convicted on 34 counts.
Francesca, what was the crime?
Of like cooking the actual books.
What was the crime?
You are not allowed. So you are not allowed to use your own financial, like your own money, to pay off somebody, and then he logged it as something different. He logged it as just a regular payment, but he was actually paying off this porn star to keep quiet, which, if he hadn't been running for president, would not have mattered, but he was, and so it impacted campaign finance laws in New York State. Okay, that is what Juan Merchan just oversaw this. Alvin Bragg brought these charges because Michael Cohen was already sentenced to 3 years to do it.
Let's just go before Kevin. I'll be very, very, very patient. I will come to you.
Look, I'm no expert. Let me just say, hang on, Michael.
You are no expert. That's right. The campaign finance law is a federal law.
Hang on.
And they wouldn't let a witness for the federal law saying that he did not break a federal law.
Yep.
And first of all, how much in that testimony did they say that President Trump had nothing? He had no knowledge of anything. It was Cohen was the one that did all of this stuff.
Yep, exactly.
But there was never
and then stole money from him.
Yeah.
Then Cohen embezzled from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know.
But at least she cleared it up.
At least she cleared it up. Again, they're making a martyr out of it, and I need to tell you something real quick. Our friend Judge John Wilson noticed here that his new book called Not Wasting a Crisis, The Lawless Biden Administration, it's available on Kindle as of right now. Soon available on paperback, but I wanted to make sure it's called Not Wasting a Crisis, The Lawless Biden Administration. Go look it up. Former Judge John H. Wilson. He's the author. So I just wanted to make sure I brought that up when we're talking about this, because it all ties together. Now, this is funny that this little Francesca cutie girl, and she's cute, I'll give her that. But anyways, brainless, mindless, stupid, Jim, not ignorant, stupid. That she can't define, because the judge can't define it either. The jury couldn't define it. Nobody's been told it. So at any rate, but if she was really insisted that you're not allowed to pay hush money, if you're not allowed to do that kind of thing, you want to start with the Obama story?
Now, again,
I know it's kind of backwards in how we're going to go, but it kind of
we have to
ties
be careful
in
that he's not convicted. All right. So but anyway,
in the court of public opinion, and here in Judge Jim and Dale's court, he is convicted of all crimes brought against him.
So in wake of President Trump's recent conviction for allegedly offering hush money to influence a 2016 election, similar accusation against Barack Obama has resurfaced. According to a 2012 report by Edward Klein in the New York Post, Obama may have offered $150,000 to his former pastor, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, to keep quiet during the 2008 campaign. Now, not because of sexual improprieties or anything else, but because Jeremiah Wright's insane. He's absolutely insane. So they paid him $150,000 to be quiet.
To just shut up.
Allegedly. Excuse me.
Because that was his pastor. That was
so
Obama's
now I looked and
pastor.
I did not see anywhere where any charges have been brought against him or any investigation. Not even President Trump goes after all your political enemies, right?
Yep.
I do not remember his Department of Justice going after Obama for this. Don't remember seeing any of this stuff.
Yep. I agree.
Did it happen? I don't know, but I think we need to look into it, right?
Yeah, follow the money. I mean, why did he go away? Because he was big news there for a while back in 2008.
If you notice,
anybody who doesn't remember,
if you notice, he all of a sudden disappeared,
went away. Now, who does that without being financially compensated?
Look, and I don't give a crap what people say, whether they want to compare what Clinton did with Paula Jones back in, but he gave her money too.
Yeah.
All right.
And
it was, we know what President Clinton did, but there was no charges brought against him. There was nothing.
And he was president.
And
Trump wasn't president when this happened.
No. No.
Yep.
And so anyway, anyhow. So
that's just funny.
That was interesting.
That's very, very coincidental, isn't it,
Yes.
Jim? That happened. Jim, there's a couple things I guess we need to. Yeah, I'm just going to do some headlines, and then maybe I'll do one story. I think this one is pretty interesting since we're talking about the Trump stuff. Some former Never Trump voters now say they're backing the GOP nominee after his conviction. A group of what's been described as Never Trump voters, and there was a lot of them. We know that. We know people personally that consider themselves conservative Republicans that are Never Trumpers. Suddenly backing the former president following last week's historic conviction. The Free Press spoke with several voters across the country whose opinions were significantly impacted by the guilty verdict in the New York case against him. Sean McGuire, a Los Angeles-based venture capitalist and a former Hillary Clinton campaign donor, declared on social media that he donated $300,000 to the Trump campaign within an hour of the verdict, and wrote in an essay that, quote, "the double standards and lawfare that Trump has faced boiled my blood."
Yeah,
this is happening.
He'll be dead by this time next week.
Yeah, nice knowing you, Sean. He told the Free Press this as well. We were told that Donald Trump would be the end of democracy, but it turns out that lawfare tactics have been escalated by the Democrats and not by the Republicans. And so it's from that backdrop that I believe the Republican Party is less of a danger to the democracy than the Democratic Party right now. I appreciate the fact that he has noticed that and has switched sides, but what took him so long? All you had to do was open your eyes and be aware and research and listen. University of Chicago. Well, go ahead, Jim.
No. I didn't know you had.
No. I'm just a couple more examples. University of Chicago Law School lecturer Adam Mortera. Similarly, that is a very difficult word and always has been in my life to say.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know.
So is dog and cat, but we're okay.
Similarly, you know what isn't? Kiss my ass, Jim. Those words roll right off the tongue, poetically almost. Donated $3,300 to the Trump campaign after not voting in 2020 and opposing him during the 2016 GOP primary, hoping a Trump victory would have a deterrent effect on weaponizing the legal system against political foes. New Jersey marketing consultant Katie Nitti was described as a, quote, lifelong Democrat who has began turning against her party when living in New York City following the COVID lockdowns. Voting Republican for the first time in 2021 mayoral race, followed by support for GOP hopeful Lee Zeldin in the 2022 gubernatorial race. While previously supporting Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s candidacy, the recent conviction may lead her to pulling the lever for Trump. Quote, "I'm no fan of Trump. That said, I have a huge problem with contorting the law for using prosecutorial authority in the name of saving democracy." This goes on and on and on. Daniel Coatson, there's another one. The list, it just continues of these Never Trumpers, or mainly Never Trumpers. Some of them even Republican who were just, part of the I'm going to never vote for Trump bullshit, are continuously switching sides now. Is that amazing? I mean, that's the more they try, the more popular he becomes.
Give him credit. It's it's the name's slipping my mind right now, from Minnesota, the Democrat from Minnesota, who ran against.
Who's trying to get on the primary? Dean
Phillips. Dean Phillips.
Yep.
He saw this coming.
Yeah, he did.
That's why he wants a pardon. That's why he wants all of it, because his popularity keeps going up, because this is so evident on what happened, on how all of this took place. I always ask people who don't like Trump. Okay, I have a mother who is not a big fan of him.
Yeah,
as an individual, but she understands as a president he did a really good job. So she was okay with that, that stuff. But I have other family members, and even not family members you talk to. Well, President Trump's a racist. Well, okay, give me an example.
Yeah,
they always bring up the issue with that. Remember the illegals coming over here, that they're all remember rapists. That one word, they're all, and that's not what he said.
That's not what he said.
That is not what he said. If you read what he actually said, that's not what he said. Give me another one.
Yep.
Well, he's just mean. Whenever somebody says something bad, he always has to attack.
Great.
Have you heard what President Obama said about us? Did you hear about Hillary Clinton calling anybody who supports President Trump deplorables?
Yeah.
It's what they all do it. Everybody does it.
Yep.
Well, I just don't like how he treats women. But you voted for Clinton. And how Obama treated men who gave him coke. I mean,
Biden married his nanny.
Yeah,
after his wife's death.
I just love it when people do that. You have no basis why you hate this man.
Yep.
Your party is telling you hate him. Your party is telling you he's a bad man. But you have nothing to show. You have nothing to prove it.
No, that's right.
And it's funny. Look, he's not a perfect man.
Nobody
he's
is.
Not.
Nobody
Exactly. If you're looking for the perfect candidate that never broke any laws or never did anything wrong, there isn't one out there. Even the mighty, even the wonderful Barack Obama,
Messiah,
did bad things.
Yep. Even while in office. My point.
Yeah.
The point to that is that even though the media tells him all this, that he's a bad man, you can't like him, you got to vote against him. These ignorant a-holes still have history to go back on and say, what was my life like during that time? Up until the man-made Fauci created virus that they infiltrated
and they
to destroy our economy and his presidency.
They still had to cheat.
They still had to cheat to win the election.
Yeah.
So everybody know that they still had to cheat. Which, we're going to talk about that too, aren't we, Jim? They still had to cheat to win the election. You're right. What was their life like? Were groceries cheaper? Was gas cheaper? Did you have more money in your pocket? You got tax cuts.
You got complaints about that. All I heard about when President Trump was president.
Mean tweets.
Yep.
Mean tweets.
He's not a nice guy.
Well, get off of Twitter, asshole. Why do you got to even look at it? It's like the same people that are like, hey, I don't like when I'm tagged in a post. So what? Move on. Jesus Christ, Jim. Biden election meddling. Let's talk about that a little bit. He's mad. He's mad.
I've got to tell you guys, this struck me as funny. Okay,
I bet it does.
No, and I'm going to ask a question of you, Dale.
Okay.
When I'm just going to bring this up, and then
hypothetical, or do I need to answer?
No, you need to answer. President Joe Biden told Time Magazine that there is evidence China is meddling in November's general election, and added, all the bad guys are rooting for President Donald Trump. Now I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
Here's my question to you. We always talk about how were you 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Who do you think China wants to win this election?
The guy they're paying.
Honestly, think China? Do you think any of these countries want President Trump to win the election?
And
none of them do.
I get asked by Macron in France. Well, he's a lefty progressive lunatic. I don't want Trump. You can't let him win. Unbelievable.
But here we are again. Here we are. It was Russia in 2016.
Now it's China.
All right. It was China in 2020. We heard about China.
We heard
colluding
about China.
And Russia again trying to get involved. We heard about all this stuff. Guys, is this not an insurrection? By making this crap up, this is it frustrates me to no end, because he is actually sitting there saying the bad guys want President Trump. No, because Merrick Garland doesn't want President Trump to win, and Merrick Garland's a bad guy. Myorkus is a bad guy. He doesn't want Trump to win. Yeah. But I'm telling you guys, please understand this one thing. He is going to go out there and say that China is meddling. We got evidence that China is meddling. We have been hearing about this since 2016. That the foreign. But then ask yourself this one question: who does China want to win this election?
Exactly.
The one who raised tariffs on them, who made America's steel boom, we became energy independent. Our electric bills were lower. Our heating bills were lower. And guess what he still did? We still had clean energy out there.
Yep, we did. That's right.
He did not stop it. He did not say we're not going to do it. He added to it. Here's your choices, folks. You choose.
Free market, like it should be.
And so now they're coming out. So now all these idiots out there that follow them willy-nilly, the ones who don't think for themselves, who are stupid, are hearing, oh my God, Trump's in with China, and ignoring everything.
Yep, he's colluding with China.
The Biden family did with China.
Where does the Dominion? Where's Dominion voting machines made?
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. So please don't ever fall.
I don't know if
this.
they're in China. I think they are. Yeah. I think I remember hearing that, but I could be wrong.
But there is something added. One thing I want to add to this as well is, folks, you're starting to hear now. There's a number of Democrats now that are coming out and saying that they're concerned about Biden's health and mental capacity.
His age.
Folks, it's going to happen before the Democratic National Convention. He is stepping down.
Yeah, or at the convention.
Don't know who they're going to get.
It over to.
Watch who becomes the vice president under Kamala Harris. Watch.
Yeah,
because I truly believe that is the person that Kamala Harris cannot run for president.
I think if he pulls out, they both pull out and they nominate Gavin.
Well, I still think she becomes president. She becomes president just so they can say they have the first female president. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
Wait a second. That's sexist. That's how dare.
But I believe that's what they're going to do, and then she will step down for mental issues as well. Because God, that woman's nuts. But anyway, so watch who the vice president. All I'm saying is it's getting closer and closer to. I think we're heading to that.
Yeah, I think so too. So too. But I'm glad that he's worried about it because in Arizona, the GOP files bombshell lawsuit, Jim, against corrupt Secretary of State after discovering from 500,000 to 1.3 million illegal voters are on their state's voter rolls. He lost Arizona by what? Again, 11,000 votes. This is how Democrats
truthfully,
win.
He won Arizona by 22,000 votes.
Truthfully. Okay. Thank you, Arizona Republican Party, for showing the rest of America what must be done to bring back election integrity in America today. For the Arizona Republican Party filed a lawsuit against the corrupt Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, after discovering 500,000 to 1.3 million illegal voters are on the voter roll. We've talked about it. The voter rolls are absolutely a disaster in this country. And Michigan and Pennsylvania and Georgia and they need to literally take a look at these, and the Republicans got to stand up somehow and file these lawsuits, do whatever you got to do, because we're 5 months away from this happening. And they already got the names they want, and the people they want. But can you believe that? Almost 1.3 million illegals are on the voter rolls and eligible to vote. Now, who are they going to vote for, Jim?
The
Democrats, they've already voted for him. They've already voted for him. But I just thought that was
already checked.
Yeah, but China is the threat.
China's the problem.
China's the problem, not our open borders.
To break that down, if you don't mind,
please go ahead.
500,000 registered voters currently listed on the Secretary's voter rolls are either deceased or no longer reside in Arizona. Now, I would like to know how many of those individuals voted, honestly, because there's evidence that they did. Okay. But here's the big one that you talked about. And a review of other reliable data sources shows that Arizona has between 1.06 and 1.27 unaccounted for voters. Folks, there are more people registered to vote in precincts. There's not that many people there.
Correct. Yeah,
because
that's right.
Illegals aren't on your census.
Correct.
Illegals aren't on your... Listen to what I am telling you. There are more registered voters in counties in Arizona than there are people living
there
in Arizona.
Yep. Correct. Yeah.
And China's a threat to this country.
And China is a threat. And Trump is a threat to democracy. And the Republicans are a threat to democracy. They're part of that Eric voter roll system, along with New Mexico, Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Oregon, Maine. They're still using that system.
Here's who canceled
geared for cheating:
Iowa, Missouri, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, Virginia, West Virginia, and Ohio. Here are the founding members: Washington, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Maryland. Under contract with Eric, Oregon. Arizona. New Mexico, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan, Georgia, and
Georgia.
South Carolina, Alaska, and there's others, but they have nothing.
There's a couple others.
Yeah,
but
folks, registered voters in counties that don't have that many people, that doesn't send warning bells to people. Really?
Are you kidding me? That absolutely should send it to it. That absolutely is what should happen. Let me get real quick here into RFK Jr. because those on the fence are supporting this fella, on both sides.
I think it's going to hurt both candidates, not just
I mean, it's not going to, nothing's whatever. But independent presidential candidate previously expressed support for higher gas prices for consumers, which he argued would force a market shift towards electric vehicles. So his moderate stance, he is no moderate. He is very extreme left on the Second Amendment. He's very extreme left on this issue as well. Kennedy made the argument in a number of media appearances, as well as at least one speech going all the way back to 2003, claiming that ending subsidies to oil companies and forcing them to cover certain costs related to oil production would lead to gasoline costing its true price of up to $22 per gallon. That's who Robert Kennedy is, by the way.
Boy, that wouldn't hurt the economy at all.
That won't hurt the economy at all. Jim, I do
can I
have
ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, please ask away.
We have to hear about these obscene profits from the oil industry, right? We've already talked about some stories of the obscene profits that people are getting from the clean energy. How come no one's talking about that? And I venture to guess that if one of these idiots from MSNBC or CNBC or CNN or even going out to the Fox News, Newsmax, if anybody would investigate to find out, I guarantee you there's more people making money on this mass fraud called clean energy than there is on oil. But we want to attack the oil.
We want to attack the oil.
Ask yourself that question. But anyway.
Exactly. Jim, there's a couple January 6th things I want to bring up real quick. FBI whistleblower who exposed agencies' lies about January 6th has security clearance reinstated and will receive over 2 years of back pay. I wonder why. FBI agent Marcus Allen had his security clearance suspended in 2022 after he raised questions about Director Christopher Wray's statements regarding law enforcement involvement during the January Empower Oversight, a legal advocacy group, filed a lawsuit against the Bureau and asserted that the FBI's actions were retaliatory and falsely labeled Allen as disloyal, and they mislabeled him as disloyal to the United States. It has now been confirmed that the FBI reinstated Allen's security clearance on May 31st and agreed to pay him over 2 months of back pay as part of a settlement between the two parties. He has now resigned from the Bureau. So he was reinstated and now resigned. But as we talked about whistleblowers, that's what happened to him. That's what happened to him.
If he wouldn't have resigned, it would have been a rough job.
It would have been a rough job. He had to resign. He had no choice. He's already had a rough life, and he's about to. It's not going to get any better for him. Do you know that they're trying to arrest? Their goal is to make an arrest every single day of the year for the January 6th. Right. They're still trying to go after all of them. Do you know who Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock is? I wasn't familiar with him. He's an Air Force Lieutenant Colonel. He was there at the White House. I think he went in the Capitol. I think that happened. I have to investigate it more, but he was recently released after his prison sentence. He came out with a video. Do you want to hear that, Jim? So I think it's pretty important and powerful, and I think you could hear it in his voice. Let's just listen to it. It's Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock.
I thank God that I've had the opportunity to serve my country under such trying and difficult circumstances. For 372 days, I have been a political prisoner of this administration. Although I have many things to say about my time and treatment inside the Springfield Gulag, that will wait. The first thing I must do is give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for my deliverance and liberation. To every American that prayed for me or wrote to me, thank you. Your support meant everything, especially in the dark days when they threw me in the hole, especially when they were trying to have me killed. I ask every American to reflect on the fact that just 4 short years ago, we all believed we enjoyed the full protection of the Bill of Rights, the right of free speech, the right to assemble, the right to a speedy trial, and the right to a trial by a jury of our peers. But now, as many in the minority community already knew, those rights just don't exist anymore. Instead, we have FBI censorship and propaganda, warrantless surveillance, and indefinite pretrial and post-conviction detention of American citizens. And worst of all, the fundamental tenet of American jurisprudence, equal justice under law, has been corrupted. And now we have a 2-tiered system of justice, complete with political show trials, ranging from the former president to a common man like me. In the face of this banality of evil, you're right to ask, what can one man or one woman do? Although you must continue to pray. To merely pray while Americans are being shipped to gulags as prisoners of conscience, well, that just mocks God and dishonors the sacrifice of our founding fathers and the shed blood of patriots who enshrined our rights in our sacred Constitution. So I'm asking you today, please, call your congressmen and senators and demand that they live up to the gospel they profess to believe. Demand that they not only proclaim liberty to the captives, but that they use the full power of the legislature, their voice, their vote, and most importantly, the budget, to set at liberty those who are oppressed. And if they will not do this, vote them out, every last one of them. Never again should there be a political prisoner in the United States. Finally, in the words of a truly great man, a man who was also a prisoner of his government, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. God bless you, your families, and God bless the United States of America.
After he was imprisoned by the government,
by
the country that he served,
yep,
he still says, God bless America.
Yep, because that's what he believes in, and that's what he's fought for.
We all
and I just thought that was extremely powerful. Jim, as in usual fashion, I've tried to reach out and find him. I'd love to have him on to tell his story, and hopefully we can together try to locate him. I've had issues trying to do that, but at any rate, I just thought that was super powerful, and the fact that he, regardless, you have a right to assemble. I don't know the backstory as much as I should, and I apologize, but I saw the video and I thought that is a very powerful human being who still believes in our country. Huh?
Would we ever know the backstory? Because here's a guy getting out.
Well, that's true.
And then Maccabee.
Yeah, Colt Maccabee.
Okay, Colt. He's still
in.
And he didn't even go in.
He didn't even go in. Correct.
He didn't even go in. As a matter of fact, he was helping.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's just I don't know if you got anything else, Jim. Do you have anything else?
Yes, I've got a couple quick things that I want to bring up because I think it's important.
Yeah, I agree.
During the Depression, there were these shanty towns that were popping up, right? Everybody, all these shanty towns that came up, and there's just trying to make because people were losing their houses. Well, we're starting to see it again. Instead of cobbled together shacks, these encampments are comprised of parked cars, sheltering the working homeless. As the cost of living spirals out of control, cities like Sedona, Arizona are setting aside parking lots complete with toilets and showers to accommodate the growing number of people unable to afford proper housing.
Sedona?
Yeah, get this.
Wow.
The housing affordability crisis has reached a breaking point, with the average home in Sedona selling for a staggering $930,000 and rentals primarily catering to affluent vacationers.
Yeah.
Blue-collar workers, once the backbone of American middle class, are left with no choice but to seek refuge in their vehicles. This disturbing. Okay, we talked about that. The monthly mortgage payment on a medium-price home has doubled since January 2021.
What happened then?
Coincidence? Oh. And rents are at record high, explains an economist familiar with the situation. Now, folks, I just want to go by saying that this is happening. We're seeing these shanty towns. We're seeing tent towns. We're seeing all these pop up tents for homeless that maybe not be homeless. They may not be homeless because of medical, they're not taking their medications, they're alcoholics, they're drug addicts, or whatever. There's people that are actually doing it because that's all they got. They still work, but this is all they have. This is where it's at.
Correct.
Yet, illegals are living in 5-star hotels.
Correct.
Illegals are living in apartments where minorities are being kicked out because the government's paying. Again, this government cares more about illegals because they need them than they care about us.
Yep.
Black people are waking up. And so anyway, and then the last thing I wanted to say, here's another school district. Excellent. Who thought this was a great idea?
Oh boy.
New school district apologizes for exclusionary language to promote event for non-white students. I'm just going to leave it there.
Who is it? Who's the school?
Oh, New York State School Board, school district apologized for losing exclusionary language to promote an event for students of color after an anti-affirmative action group accused the educators of segregating students.
Jeez. Shocking.
Hold it. I need everybody an anti-affirmative action group accused the educators of segregating students.
Yeah.
Yet they called all but whites are allowed.
Yep.
Isn't that segregating students?
I think no, because it's whitey. It's whitey.
I'm just saying, guys.
Yep. Create the division. That's what they
We
need.
only have 20% of this country is severe liberal. I believe that.
I believe that too.
We're letting them. We are letting them.
The lunatics run the asylum.
We are letting them control what we say.
Correct. Correct.
Stand up, folks. We've got to stop this crap.
Enough's enough. Like we saying, enough is enough. It's got to stop. This is unbelievable. Jim, I'm going to end with one video, and this is Ronald Reagan. Now, this is on the importance of what the United States is. And what you're going to hear is, just listen, then we'll talk about it and end the show. But this is the last thing I want to play here.
Somewhere a perversion has taken place. Our natural unalienable rights are now considered to be a dispensation of government. And freedom has never been so fragile, so close to slipping from our grasp as it is at this moment. We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. Not too long ago, 2 friends of mine were talking to a Cuban refugee, a businessman who had escaped from Castro. And in the midst of his story, one of my friends turned to the other and said, "We don't know how lucky we are." And the Cuban stopped and said, "How lucky you are. I had some place to escape to." And in that sentence, he told us the entire story. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
What did we say the other show?
That's right.
Liberals have plenty of places to go in this world.
Plenty of places to go.
We don't.
We got this is the only place we have to go. And in order to keep it, and if you're all for immigrants coming, and I am fine with that, legally coming to this country, where are they going to go? If you care so much about them, where do you expect them to go once all the freedoms and the liberties are removed?
Not only that, but the money's going to stop eventually, guys.
That's right. And it's going to be total Wild West out there. Worse. It could not have been said better than the great Ronald Reagan himself.
Nothing's ever said better.
Nothing's ever said better than what he says. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to end the show on that.
Oh, by the way, also
we have
racist.
To. Oh, I know. Again, he was a racist. Yeah,
hates poor people.
Correct. That's right. That's
trickle-down economics doesn't work.
Nope. Not. You're right. This is the left, folks. This is who's running the country.
You're always going to have millionaires and billionaires, folks. You're always going to have them.
Thank God, because therefore they can create other opportunities that we can all thrive from. Trickles down.
You know, it's not.
I can then buy a TV, so it helps the TV manufacturer, who helps the employees at the TV manufacturer, who helps the chip manufacturer that supplies them to the TVs.
It's not our fault that there's a group here who don't want to work, who don't want to do anything but whine and complain about how life isn't fair.
The entitled white liberal is the worst person on earth.
Yep. And they're not coming up to get what's coming down.
Yep. It's not our fault. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Thank you, everybody. Jim, please like, follow, and share on Rumble, right?
Yeah, and again, we talk about this, okay? And it's not just our show. There's other shows out there that, you know, obviously we want you to listen to our show, but pass it on. Share it.
Share it.
Just everybody needs to hear what's going on. I mean, we're not making this crap up.
No.
And honestly, 10 years ago, if we would have thought about making this crap up, without there was going to happen. Here we are.
You're right. You couldn't have thought about it.
But he's right, folks. It's the majority of the ones that are sitting there saying it will never happen. And then you turn around and realize,
oh shit,
what the hell just happened? It's the story of the guy sitting in the chair.
That's right.
The fire all around him, but he's not paying any attention to what's going on.
Yep, that's what's happening out there. They got blinders. You have your life going on, and I understand that. We all have that. But your eyes need to be wider. Your ears need to be open. This is happening. This is all happening.
All Republicans around the country do what Arizona has done.
That's right.
Get those voter rolls updated and make it to where illegals can't vote.
Yep. Keep screaming to the top. And as Lieutenant Brock said, call your senators, and if they don't listen, vote them out. That's it. Simple, plain. Do it. Jim, again, like, follow, and share on Rumble. Please, everybody, we really do appreciate that. Listen to us on Apple and Spotify and Stitcher and iHeart and all the other places you can hear us on. Come to our Facebook group, 2 Guys, 1 Cool. And the number 2 Guys, number 1 Coup. COUP.
And if you come to our Facebook group, understand that you're going to be tagged everyone. You're gonna. All right. So keep that.
You could just bypass it if you want, but yeah, come join. We appreciate it. Invite everybody to it. Jim, you got anything else to add today?
God bless America.
God bless America, and pray for us all. Jim, we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Everybody out there, have a great weekend. Until then, Jim, goodbye, sir.
Oh, one more thing.
Natasha
Owens, folks, has come out with a new video and song, and the song is The Chosen One. It is on YouTube. Please go out and watch it.
Yep.
As usual, Natasha, I commented on it. Another great song. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
So it will, if we get a chance to on the next show, because we've already have open permission to put her stuff on. So we will try to play it, but we're also trying to get her back on.
Yeah. We just got to contact her publicist, the whole works and all that. And we will get her back on. But thank you for bringing that up. And it's getting some play. It's getting some publicity out there, and she deserves it. She definitely deserves it as well.
So good. She is. So
good. I mean, they're all good. It's just support. You know, I posted on Facebook some people who to support. Just keep supporting those people. You know. And support us just by listening and sharing our podcast is absolutely the support we need, and we appreciate it. And keep commenting on it. We've had some good comments, and I mean to read those because I don't want everything to be negative. Next show, I'll read some comments from some folks on it. We appreciate it. Jim, I'm done. Pray for us all. God bless you and your family. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye, sir.
You've been listening to the 2 Guys, 1 Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for 2 Guys, 1 Coup. That's the number 2 Guys and the number 1 Coup, COUP. Thanks again for listening to the 2 Guys, 1 Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.